Hey guys, welcome to our daily encounter. I really love the story of this man who had 1,000 demons in him, found in Mark chapter 5 in our reading today. I really like the way that we find him when the story begins and contrast that with the way he looks when the story ends. It starts out in verse 1, it says, "They came to the other side of the sea into the country of the Gerasenes. When he got out of the boat, immediately a man from the tombs with an unclean spirit met him, and he had his dwelling among the tombs. And no one was able to bind him anymore, even with a chain, because he had often been bound with shackles and chains, and the chains had been torn apart by him, and the shackles broken in pieces, and no one was strong enough to subdue him. Constantly, night and day, he was screaming among the tombs and in the mountains and gashing himself with stones." It's like just a helpless situation, impossible situation, if you will. This man, he's living among the tombs. He's just out of his mind, basically. People tried to bind him just to put him under control, and he would break the shackles. He's living among the tombs. He's injuring himself. This was a man that was out of control. But look how the story ends with this man in verse 15. It says, "They came to Jesus and observed the man who had been demon-possessed sitting down, clothed and in his right mind, the very man who had had the legion, and they became frightened." So this man who was living in the tombs, acting like a madman, overtaken by thousands of demons, is now clothed, seated in his right mind. And the people become frightened. They're like, what in the world is going on here? And we might wonder what happened? What happened? How is a man at the beginning of the story so out of control, and then at the end of the story, he's in his right mind, clothed and sitting down? Well, there's one answer to that: Jesus. Jesus made all the difference in this man's life. And what this shows us is that he has the ability to transform. This speaks of Jesus' transforming power. And this ought to give us a lot of hope. Whether we're speaking of other people that perhaps have lived destructive lives, who may be much like this man, who have been basically making a havoc of their lives, and no one can control them, and no one seems to be able to get them settled down. It might be in a very extreme case like this man, or it might be just in little particular things in a person's life that they just can't seem to subdue and get it under control. Well, we can take comfort that Jesus, when people come into contact with Jesus, they can be transformed. This man came and he bowed down before the Lord, and he was forever changed. But it's also true for us as well, as we think about and reflect on this personally. As we look in our lives and we think, there's so many things that we might struggle with. We might think, well, I've had this problem for so long, whether it be dealing with a temper or a critical spirit or some other thing that you just can't seem to shake it, gossip, whatever it might be. Just have a hard time just letting go of certain bad habits that we have. And it seems like whenever we try to bind this certain thing in our lives, it just breaks the shackles. Well, we need to bring it to Jesus. Jesus has the power, the transforming power, that can make a really impactful change in our lives. And sometimes he does it in a very quick and sharp way, like he did with this man. This man's problem was really just one problem. He had lots of demons in him. And so all Jesus had to do was get those demons out, and the man was fixed. But for us, sometimes maybe our problems might be more complicated. There might be psychological things that are going on. It might be things that come from our history, might come from trauma that we've experienced when we were younger. Whatever the case may be, it might be a longer process. But still, we keep bringing those things back to Jesus time and time again. And what we'll find is that the same power that Jesus used to transform this man's life can be used to transform our lives as well. Whether it has to be a complete overhaul, like with this man, or if it's just little particular things that just nag us and keep us from living a holy and righteous life before God. Jesus has the power to transform. So let's take encouragement in that. And I would encourage all of us as we do our reading today to kind of reflect on those dark areas in our lives, those things that perhaps we've kind of just gotten used to. You know, well, I always act this way in these certain circumstances. And let's really think about those and reconsider them and say, you know what, maybe it's time that those things get fixed. Maybe it's time to bring those things to Jesus and really start working on those things, bringing it before Him, asking for His help, seeking His guidance. And you never know, maybe even before the day ends, or maybe a week from now, a month from now, or maybe a year from now, you might find yourself clothed, seated, and in your right mind, metaphorically speaking. So that's our encouragement today, guys. I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.